But all the other ingredients, it's kind of a mashup between Western stuff like honey and Chinese stuff like sesame paste, ginger, garlic, that kind of thing. It's going to be a great dish. My daughter from Seattle, Sophie, follow her, SLE Bud on Instagram. Total foodie, living out in Seattle where there's tons of great food. She's doing a lot of good cooking herself. And she sent me this recipe and I'm like, yeah. Right away I looked at it and I'm like, that is awesome. So we're making that today. It is ginger sesame noodles with caramelized mushrooms. So aside from the chicken stock, you certainly could use vegetable stock. This could easily be a vegetarian dish. Really good, really healthy, and I am excited to cook it with you guys. Put this away. All right. Hopefully you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving. We sure did. We were eaten and cleaned up by 5 o'clock, which was epic. All right, we're going to get right to the recipe because this is a cooking show, not a talk show. And first thing we need to do is make our sauce. Sauce gets used at 2 different stages of this recipe. And I've never made this recipe, so of course I am following the recipe on my phone, on my Paprika app. And if you don't have Paprika, check it out. It is the greatest, in my opinion, recipe app out there. It makes it easy to pull recipes off the internet and share them and scale them, email them to people. It's really wonderful. I even have a recipe group, the Paprika Recipe Sharing Network. Very cool, very cool. So we're making the sauce. What we're going to do is, and I'm doing it in a measuring cup because I'm going to have to pour out about half of it at the first stage. So I figured let me do it, rather than a bowl, do it in a cup where I can pour it. This is a half a cup of low sodium soy sauce that I think is important in this dish because otherwise it can become too salty. To this we are adding a half a cup. Is that a half a cup or quarter cup? I think it's a quarter cup. Let me see what my thing says. Yes, it is a quarter cup. This is regular straight up honey. So you've got the salty, you got the sweet. Get as much in there as I can. That is a beautiful thing. All right, in goes our honey. To that I am adding Chinese sesame paste, and I'll show you what it looks like. I get it in this jar. It's basically a toasted sesame paste. You certainly could use creamy peanut butter, or you could even use tahini in this recipe. Whatever is available to you, but I like this stuff. It's really thick, like you wouldn't make like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich out of it, but it's used in a lot of different Asian dishes. So this is our sesame paste going in. You can see how thick it is. And I put aside a little bit of sugar that I may go with on the fly, just because this stuff tends to be a little more bitter than if you were going to use peanut butter. Peanut butter has sugar in it. I don't think tahini does, but it's a lighter thing. So I put some sugar aside just in case when I taste it, if I feel like I need it. Get a little liquid in here. Mix that around. All right, again, that was another quarter of a cup. Next thing we are adding is, let me go back to my items list here. We have some very strange balsamic vinegar, 2 tablespoons. We've got 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar and a tablespoon of molasses. I'm going to use a spoon, back of my spoon, get that molasses out. So you can see the flavor profiles already. It's sweet, it's salty, it's sour. So hopefully we're going to get a nice balance between those flavor profiles. All right. Next, So I'm also adding a tablespoon of ginger and basically 1 clove of minced garlic. That's going in our sauce. I just minced it on a microplane, mixing that around. And we are also going to add 1/3 of a cup of water. That's our sauce.
So back to the microplane.
Yes.
One of the greatest things that you showed me was mincing on a microplane.
Oh yeah.
Because I had always chopped it super, super, super fine.
Exactly. Now you don't have to.
No.
And since I use my prep deck so often, it comes with a microplane. Love it. All right, that is our sauce. Looking awesome. Everything's well blended. Now we're going to go over to the stove and get to the cooking portion. I'm going to leave this whisk in here because I have a feeling I'm going to need to remix it. All right, here we are at the stove.
I'm not quite there yet.
She's not there yet. Oh, there you guys are.
Now we
Hello.
are at the stove.
All right, so perfect meal for the prep deck. Look at this thing. It's loaded up. And it's got all my stuff right where I need it. It's a beautiful thing. Let me get my phone. All right, so the noodles I am using for this, I've pre-cooked. So I was looking for, because I saw a picture of what the dish is supposed to look like. So I looked for, at the Asian market, it definitely specifies an egg noodle, Chinese style egg noodles. And in the picture, I noticed that they were flat noodles. Look at these. So let me show you this. So these were flat. This is a flat egg noodle. And the only ones that I could find that were flat like this were from Vietnam. So this is a Vietnamese egg noodle. And I simply boiled water, put the noodles in. They were dried in little nests. Dried, mixed them up for 2 minutes, strained them, and ran them under cold water. Put a little sesame oil on them. All right, so that was our noodle aspect. So what we're going to do is we are going to take our stock, and I measured it and put it back in this container. So it's 1.5 cups, and I'm using a mixture of chicken and beef stock. I'm going to put a little heat under there. I'm going to bring this up to a boil. And to that, this is where I'm adding half of the soy sauce mixture. So let's see what we've got here. We have just over 1.5 cups, so I'm going to put about 3/4 cup in there. Going right into our stock. Or our broth, you want to call it. And a little bit more in there. There we go, 3/4 cup. That's fine. So I'm just going to let this come up to a simmer, and then we're going to add our spinach to it. We're going right to our saute pan over medium heat. And this is where we are going to begin those caramelized mushrooms. Very cool. And something really interesting about this recipe, I don't typically cook in sesame oil. This calls for cooking in sesame oil, so we're going to follow the directions. I have 1.5 cups of sliced shiitake mushrooms, nice fresh shiitake mushrooms I got from the Asian market. They have them all the time. And it's interesting, they have different sizes, which is really cool. Get this going.
So as you're doing that, we've got a couple of hellos. We've got Keith Brochu.
Hello, Keith.
Hello from Florida.
Hello. I hope you got your parka on today.
Is it cold down there, Dad?
Oh, it's cold.
Can you close the trash can?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
So I learned this early on in my cooking, interesting cooking, from the Frugal Gourmet. Hot pan, cold oil, food won't stick.
Really?
Yeah. Very important when you're doing wok cooking. So I've got my sesame oil in here. That was 2 tablespoons. And you can see it's already starting to shimmer because I had the pan hot. And in go my mushrooms. Now, I might not use all of these because I don't want to crowd the pan, which is okay. Yeah, I guess I can put them all in, it'll fit. I'm going to raise the heat on this because what we want to do is kind of in a single layer. Right now these mushrooms are soaking up that sesame oil, taking on the flavor. Very cool. I can smell it, it's great. So I really want to just get them going. I'm going to toss them around just a little bit. I'm going to re-level them out. And this is where we want to cook them undisturbed because we really want to sear the bottom of them. That will prevent all the water from coming out. So we really want to get a nice sear on there. My stock, I can see, is already starting to come to a simmer. A nice stir around.
And as you're doing that, we've also got Michael Garabian.
Michael?
And Lisa Lobian Trink. She said she wants some.
Nice. Alright, so you can hear these mushrooms, and I can hear them squeaking a little bit, which is really cool. Alright, so we've got that down to a simmer now, our stock. We're just going to simply add, this is 3 cups of chopped baby spinach. In they go. Going to give that a quick stir. That spinach is going to wilt into it. And now we're just going to turn this down to a simmer and keep it warm. So our stock and our broth is done.
I want to come back over there and take a look at that.
Look at that. And you can see the color of that broth. Beautiful. A lot of umami in this dish. Soy sauce and mushrooms. Alright, so I can see my mushrooms are doing well. Undisturbed. Alright, so I'm cooking them undisturbed for 5 minutes or until golden. That's what it's saying. Let's see if I can lift one up and see if it's golden. Oh yeah, it's getting there.
Show me golden.
Let's see. That's getting on some. That's getting some color. Definitely, that's that golden color you're looking for. So I'm gonna let that go just another 30 seconds or so. Turn my hood up just a little. It is starting to smoke, and the smell of the earth. Oh, the mushrooms is awesome right now. Using my Meeson pan that I love so much. Perfect for this.
Sophie said, hi, Dad.
Hi, Sophie. Thanks for the recipe recommendation.
Oh, and she said, squeaky.
Squeaky.
She's hearing the squeaky.
Yep, you can hear those squeaky mushrooms. All right, we're going with it. To that mushroom, I'm going to add 2 shallots chopped. Shallot is another thing. A lot of people think, oh, it's French, the shallot. But you know what? They use a lot of shallots in Thai food especially. And so this is, like I said, that kind of Asian fusion thing going on here. All right, so I've added the shallots. We're adding a tablespoon of ginger. A little more than a tablespoon, so I'm not going to add it all. And a tablespoon of chopped garlic, minced garlic. All right. Now we're cooking 4 or 5 minutes. At this point, you'll notice that there is no liquid coming out of those mushrooms, which is really cool. It's exactly what you want. When I do like a sauteed button mushrooms, I keep them, I take the stem out, I keep them whole, I put them top down. I do the same technique. Do not move them. Let that create crust on it, and then you toss them around. So we should have a little flame action going on.
Ooh, I like flame.
Lynn likes flame action. When I saute this, let's do it. Yeah, I guess not.
No flame.
I was wrong. No. So what I want to do is I really want to mix in, get that garlic. You can see the golden mushrooms. And turn it down just a little bit. I want to get that garlic, and I think I'm going to add a little bit of oil to this.
I can definitely see
Looks a little dry.
You want olive oil?
Well, I'm going to go with the, unfortunately, the oil that's right by the camera. Oh. A little sesame oil. Might as well. Oh yeah, that is perfect. Alright, so we're going to cook this for another couple minutes, minute or two. We really want this to get nice and caramelized.
If you didn't want more sesame oil, because it's just too sesame.
Yep, you could definitely use a more neutral oil.
Avocado oil.
Avocado oil, vegetable oil. I wouldn't use olive oil because it's got a really strong flavor, and it really doesn't go well with Asian flavors.
But avocado oil.
Avocado oil for sure.
And we also have Jay with us tonight. He said hi, y'all.
Hello, Jay. Snow out there, huh, buddy? All right. So now I'm going to add to this 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. That's going to help us caramelize. And there's a large pinch of pepper. So there we got our large pinch of pepper. You can see the color on these mushrooms. This is exactly what you want.
It's starting to smell really good in here.
Mm-hmm. Sure is. So far, a very easy recipe to make.
Did I say Dave LaGrucia was out there?
Yes, another guy freezing in Florida. That is great.
So I guess it's so stay warm, Keith and Dave.
Yeah.
As you freeze. Is it cooler there than it is up here?
No, not quite.
Okay.
All right. Okay, now sesame seeds. Copious amounts.
That is a lot of sesame.
Mm-hmm. All good. Those sesame seeds are going to toast up, add to our flavor. And you can see what's happening in the bottom of the pan. Can you show them this, honey? This in the bottom of the pan is called fond. F-O-N-D. That's tons of flavor. It's the Maillard effect, that caramelization that is adhering to the bottom of the pan, and we are going to deglaze the pan and scrape up all that great flavor. Got the sesame seeds. Really awesome. All right. Beautiful.
Dave said it was 45 this morning.
Yeah, that's cold for Florida. You taste our broth. Nice. Gorgeous.
It tastes like
Gingery.
Dave said they actually had to turn the heat on this morning.
Wow. All right. Okay, I'm going to take these mushrooms out of here. And now we're going to get to scraping up that fond in our pan. Sorry, I'm doing it against the camera.
That's what you get for being a lefty.
Beautiful. All right. So we're going to put this onto our cutting board because those are done. Next step, we are going to, I want to use a little bit more So actually, I'm going to add the rest of our soy. Make sure I'm getting all that sesame paste out of the bottom. We're going to let this come up to a boil. We're going to add our noodles to it. I wanted to boil before I put the noodles in, because these noodles are already partially cooked, and I don't want them to overcook. I want some chew left in my noodles. So if I let it sit there while it's warming up, there's a chance that they may overcook. We don't want that. We're going to scrape up that delicious fond in the bottom here. Kind of deglaze our pan.
And then we also have Jay Giannico. He said hi to you, not to me.
Hello, Jay.
It's not right.
Oh, you better make things right with Lynn. All right, so you can see those bubbles. See these bubbles?
I'm going to come back
These
over
bubbles,
and take a look at the bubbles.
that's a sign of reduction, that the liquid is reducing, and that's what you want, because what we want to do now is we want to coat our noodles.
So
these noodles are going in.
that's a boil.
There's a boil. I'm going to use my hand because I want to separate them. And now remember, I coated them with a little sesame oil. That looks amazing. Okay. A quick toss. And you really want to just glaze these noodles.
Wow, they're pretty now.
They are gorgeous. Let's see. Now, of course, the noodles were cold, so I want to also heat them up. But yeah, that sauce, you see, of the noodles has absorbed all that sauce. Exactly what you want.
We've got Dave Kellerman. Hello from San Diego.
Hello, Dave. Thanks for chiming in. All right, that looks incredible. I'm gonna let it go. I really want to try and get these noodles soak up all this sauce. And we're getting ready to go over to the cutting board. All right, so this recipe makes 6 servings, it says. All right, so I'm gonna turn that off.
Seems I missed your page for a moment. Where are you going?
We're going right here.
All right.
Our bowls.
Oops. I got everybody in the bright light.
All right, so like I said, this makes 6 servings. And I want to keep that in mind because the next step is we are ladling the broth into the bowls. So this is not really meant to be a soup. So I want to keep in mind that this bowl of broth, or this pot of broth, actually serves 6 people.
So can you go back to from Rita Kraft? What kind of noodles did you use?
I used a flat egg noodle that I got at the Asian market. Happens to be from Vietnam, not China, because I definitely wanted a flat noodle, and that was the closest thing I could find. And these noodles were dried noodles. I know my daughter, when she made it, she used a fresh egg noodle from the Asian market, and the noodles got kind of mushy, so we don't want that to happen. So I went with a dried noodle, and the dried noodles are going to soak up the sauce. So in an Asian market, typically you'll find dried noodles of all different types. You'll find cooked noodles already that you could just like throw into a wok and toss them around and make some kind of lo mein kind of thing. Or you will find fresh, uncooked noodles. So I went with the dried noodles. All right. We are going to put some broth in the bowl. Again, remembering we're serving 6 here. So this is a 4-ounce ladle. So half a cup. Maybe I'll put a tad more in. But again, we're not making a soup. We're making a noodle dish. Like so. Beautiful. We're going to add our noodles. Again, this is supposed to serve 6, but when it comes to noodles, I'm pretty much a gavone. In go our noodles.
And as you're doing that, Rui Manata said, "Hey, what's going on? Hope everything's well."
What's up, Rui?
And then I got a little love because Jay still dissed me and said, Pete Romano said hi to me, not to you. Nice. Kevin said hi to me, not to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling the love.
Good. I'll put a little more in my dish than Lynn's because
you eat more.
I eat more. All right, so we've got our noodles in the pan. And what we're going to do next is we're just going to top them with some of our mushrooms. Yeah, this looks amazing. Beauty. I'll give you a little more mushrooms.
I do like mushrooms.
And so I am going to finish this dish with some scallion. And this would get me kicked off of chopped right now. I'm going to add a little drizzle of sesame oil. A little drizzle of sesame oil.
I'm feeling a little sesame-y.
All right. Now, get this back over on the stove.
The true test coming up with you eating it.
Here we go. So there we have our ginger sesame noodles with caramelized mushrooms. It looks really amazing. The trusty chopsticks here. Let me give it a little stir. All right, let's see what we got here. And these are long noodles, honey, so prepare yourself. They're slippery too.
I'm preparing myself for the slurp.
Mm-hmm. Here we go. Mmm. This is a keeper. I love it.
Yeah.
The mushrooms are meaty. The sauce has got that balance of sweet, sour, salty.
That's smelling pretty good.
Definitely. It's a great dish. It hits that comfort zone thing, you know? Like on a cold night, you're in Florida, you can make this dish and it'll warm you right up.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
that is our recipe for tonight. Thanks everybody for joining us. We have nothing but gratitude for you guys. Share me and Lynn with all your friends and family. We're approaching 1,400 members of the Grateful Chef with Eric Eisenbud group. Or 1,500. No, 1,500.
15.
So let's make a run for 1,500.
Woo!
Check out, there's the post out there with my holiday gift giving guide with some links. If you guys would use those links, you know what? You get a great product, discounts. I get a little bit of commish, which is a great way to support your favorite Facebook chef.
And I'll say, not everything is a...
Not everything's a discount, but I get credit for it one way or another, so it's really cool. Anyway, that being said, be well, eat well, be kind, and we'll see you on the next Grateful Chef video.